This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We continue in Sefer Devorah. We are in the middle of the second Middah. The second Middah is Noisei Avain, who Hashem bears sin, which means as follows. The Devorah taught us that whenever somebody commits a sin, he creates a mashchas, he creates a destructive monster, a destructive angel. Like the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, a prosecuting angel. And this angel goes before God and he says, look, so-and-so created me. And of course, nothing exists in this world without the constant benevolence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and this angel is included in that. He needs sustenance, he needs to be fed. And he comes before Hashem, and he says, Hashem, feed me. So God should logically say, look, you're not my problem. Go to the guy who made you. Go to the guy who sinned. And the mashchus should then go to the guy. The guy has nothing to feed him. What could you possibly feed an angel? And therefore, he should the mashchus should either take his soul or cut him off from this world. In other words, either kill him or cut him off from Olam Haba, or he should be punished until the mashchus lets go. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't do that. He tolerates the sin to the extent that just like he feeds the whole world, he feeds this mashchus as well, until, meaning he continues to daily feed the mashchus until one of three things happen. Either the sinner does tshuva, and by doing tshuva, the person as part of his tshuva abstains from physical pleasure, sort of afflicts himself, and that affliction will destroy the mashchus. Or God will have to bring travails on the person, and that will destroy the mashchus. Or, unfortunately, this person will have to go to Gehenna. So now this is where we're up to. This is what Cain said to God. We're on page Yud in the Devorah in our edition. B'hainu she'amar Cain. This is what Cain said to God. Gadol avoini minasai. Is my sin too great to bear? Upershu Rabbi Sinu Zecharim Levracha. Our rabbis have taught us. This means Kol ha'olam kulayata soivel. God, you bear the whole world. What does that mean? You bear the whole world. That means you feed the whole world. Yirtze zanu mefarnes. You sustain them. You provide for them. Va'avoini kaved, is my sin so heavy, she'ena tayachal savlai, that you cannot tolerate it? Meaning Cain said to God, look God, you support and you sustain and you feed the whole world. You feed millions of people. You sustain all the animals, all the plants. So you can't sustain my monster. Is my monster too difficult for you to support? Meaning you can't support him. Perush lefarnasai ad sha'asha v'asakin. Support him until I do tshuva. This is what Cain was saying to God. Look, God, you sustain the whole world. So what's one more monster going to hurt you? Imkein harizu midas savlanus gedola. This is a great tolerance. Sheyazoin v'yifarnes briara. That the Hashem supports and sustains an evil creature, Shabara Hachoite, that the sinner sinned, Ad Sheyashav, until he does tshuva. I mean, this would be something analogous to, you lend somebody your car, and they take your car, and they drive it into your house, and they bust your pipe. And then your pipe then goes and damages your neighboring house. And the person who took your car is in jail. So would anybody bail the guy out? And would anybody now pay the neighbor whose house is damaged? Why don't you tell the judge, look, I didn't damage my neighbor. This guy who stole my car, who rammed it into my house, he damaged my neighbor. Let him pay for his damages. But the analogy would be, God takes the guy, he bails him out of jail, he gives him a credit card to pay for all the repercussions of the Avera that he did. To that level of tolerance, we need to learn from God. What a challenge that is. Next time when a person thinks, I've reached my threshold of tolerance and I've reached my threshold of patience, think about every word of Lashon Hara that we speak, we create a monster. That monster is on God's credit card bill, and He's feeding all these monsters until we do tshuva. So we could be a little bit more tolerant than above and beyond the threshold that we've ascribed to ourselves. Says the Talmud Devorah, Yilmad ha'adam. From here a person should learn Kama tzarach sheyeh savlan. How tolerant we need to be. Yizbal avel chaveroi. Tolerate the wrongdoing of your friend, v'ra'osav, and his evil, sheheiriya, that he inflicted on us, ad shir kazeh, to the extent, sha'adayin ra'asai kayemes shechata negdoi, meaning tolerate your friend's iniquity, tolerate your friend's wrongdoing to the extent where his wrongdoing is extant, meaning the ramifications, the repercussions are existing. V'hu yizbal, and you tolerate it, and you provide for him, ad yisakin chavero, until your friend corrects himself, oyad sheyizbato me'elav, or until this wrongdoing just is nullified on its own, v'chayotze, or the similar. Okay, let's continue on to the next Middah. The next Middah, in a way, is even a greater demonstration of Hashem's attribute of tolerance, v'oiver al Pesha. So we translate that on a literal basis to mean Hashem removes transgression. However, we're going to see it means much more than that. It doesn't just mean Hashem overlooks our transgression, but Hashem actively passes over a detergent on our filth to cleanse it. Zu midah gedola, says the Talmud Devorah, this is a great midah. Sharei ein hamechila al yidei shliach. When God atones for us, He does not atone for us through an agent, which means Hashem Himself has to come and be moichal. So you say, why does Hashem have to come and be moichal? What exactly is He doing? All He has to do is say, I forgive you. No, it's more than that. Ella al yadai mamish shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's literally through the hand of God. Only God could be moichal. He cannot send an intermediary, He cannot send a middleman. Kidachsiv, ki imacha haslicha. With you, God is atonement. God does not give to an angel to atone for us. He doesn't give to a middleman to atone for us. Only God atones for us. So the question is, why? Why can't He hire a middle? Why can't He delegate? Umahi haslicha, what is the atonement? So, shehu roichetz ha'avain. God cleanses the sin. We have to imagine it, that when a person does an Aveira, he has soiled his soul. But not just, some, a little dirt, a little cholent. Think of the dirtiest, messiest thing you could find. Because the pasuk that the Navi uses is tsoya. So let's use that analogy. When a person does an Aveira, they have excrement on their soul. They have nothing short of that. They have literal filth, disgusting filth. So if God could send like a cleanup crew, so it would be a halbatzara. But God doesn't send a cleanup crew. He comes Himself with Johnson's and Johnson's wipes, and He cleans the Aveira. Think about how embarrassing that is. That we have to, because there's nobody who God delegates this job to clean our sin, other than Himself. He does it Himself. Ki imacha aslicha, umahi aslicha shu roichetz ha'aven. He cleanses the sin. Kidachsiv imrachatz Hashem is tzayas b'noi Sion. If God, the word im in this pasuk, the Rashi on the pasuk in Yeshaya says it means ki. God cleanses the sin of the daughters of Sion. He cleanses our sin. V'chein ksiv, likewise it says, V'zarakti aleichem mayim tahirim, I will sprinkle on you the purifying waters. V'hainu oiver al Pesha. So it doesn't mean He overlooks sin. It means He literally passes over a cleanser on the sin. Shoileach. Imagine, that means when a person sins, God comes to your room, He takes out a hose, He pours, He spritzes you with Windex, He takes out wipes, He takes out, Lysol, and He's scrubbing away. He has a brush, and it's not coming off so easily. And the Ribbon Shalom Himself has to cleanse your sin. Oiver al Pesha. He passes a cleanser over the sin, shoileach meimei rechitza, he sends the waters of washing, va'oiver, and he passes it over, v'roichetz ha'pesha, and he wipes away the sin. And we will elaborate on this more, Bezos Hashem, tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Everyone's invited, Mirz Hashem, tomorrow night as well, is Wednesday night Shiur. Bracha v'atzlacha, have a great day. Shkayach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.